Hello, hello. It is a huge week for the Italian clubs in Europe, but given today is Tuesday and it's a Champions League night, I'm going to focus on those three clubs that make up Italy's Champions League contingent. Inter tonight away at Benfica, and then the huge all-Italian quarter-final at San Siro, the first leg tomorrow between Milan and Napoli. So I thought, what better opportunity than today to come up with a cheeky Italian paper review. We've got La Gazzetta dello Sport on the one hand, and on the other we've got Il Corriere dello Sport. Unfortunately, I couldn't get hold of a copy of Tutto Sport. Clearly, there's been a run on Milanese newsstands from those Juventini, those Juventus supporters. So we'll start with La Rosia, the pink paper. Inter fai cose da grande. Quite literally, Inter do great things, and they've gone with Niccolò Barella as their potential source of inspiration, a man who hasn't scored in 2023 and has just one assist, if memory serves, but he has hit the post in their last two league matches. A Lisbona ce l'ha andata col Benfica, Inzaghi si gioca tutto. So the first leg against Benfica in Lisbon, it's all on the line for Inzaghi, all or nothing for him. I portoghesi sono battibili e il tecnico è specialista del dentro-fuori, ma va ritrovata l'anima vincente. So, La Gazzetta claim that Benfica are beatable and that Inzaghi is a knockout specialist. But first of all, Inter need to rediscover that winning groove. And then finally, a reference to the fact that Milan-Napoli is all about these two clubs that are impeccably well run, with low wage bills, young squads. They are examples of sustainability. And a reference to Victor Osimhen, who's currently in doubt for the match. It's a question mark as to whether he's going to start. They say Osimhen più no che sì, so it's more of a no than a yes. On to Il Corriere dello Sport, il contropiede di Simone. Simone on the counter-attack. Inzaghi, Inter chiedo testa e cuore, insieme si può. So Inter, I'm asking for cool heads and a lot of heart. Together we can do it. Bit of a platitude, but Inzaghi not known necessarily as being a particularly loquacious orator. Il tecnico è sotto tiro, so he's under fire. Le voci sul futuro, abbiamo fatto un grande percorso. So, rumours about my future, we've already achieved great things. Cerca la rivincita e medita l'addio a fine stagione, il City sfida il Bayern. So, he's looking for revenge, and he's even considering leaving the club at the end of the season. And this is very interesting, which pertains to domestic matters. Per la prima volta tre squadre del centro-sud sul podio, il calcio ribalta l'Italia. So, Italian football has turned the country on its head for the first ever time. Three central southern teams are the top three in Serie A. So again, this is the eternal debate. Does Rome constitute the centre of Italy or the south of Italy? Hence why it says centro-sud. But there you can see Naples clearly is the south. And you can see Napoli, Lazio, Rome are the top three currently in Serie A, albeit with 9 matches still to go. And then finally, a reference to tomorrow night's game. On the front cover of Il Corriere dello Sport. This is the domestic edition. There are several different ones. There's the Rome edition, the Naples edition. But il leader Giroud, amuleto d'Europa. So Giroud is a leader for this Milan side, and he's their European talisman, whereas Osi agita Spalletti, attacco da rebus. Riddle me this, Luciano. Who are you going to play if Osimhen is not fit? Let's get into the papers themselves now, because we're rambling on a little bit. Italia Show, lovely, a bit of graphic design there. Nice editorial from the excellent Luigi Garlando. Forza ragazzi, l'Europa è lì che ci aspetta. Prendiamola. Come on, guys. Europe is there waiting for us. Let's go out and grab it. And then as we go on further, we get into the detail of Benfica against Inter. Inter, you can do it. Again, a reminder that Simone is a knockout specialist. But there's no margin for error in Europe. In Europa non può sbagliare. Il Benfica non è più quello dell'autunno. Benfica are no longer the same side they were back in the autumn. So that's an inference that the current league leaders in Portugal are not quite the side they were earlier on in the campaign when they were scoring goals for fun and winning absolutely everything. There's a reference to that recent home defeat against great rivals Porto. There's the team news, what they think the predicted lineups will look like. And then we go on to Il Manuale Anti-Benfica. So this is the handbook on how to defeat Benfica. We've got Onana keeping things tight. We've got Dumfries, are you here? There will be space to fly, quite literally down the flanks. Allarme da luz, l'ultima sconfitta mette pressione. So the fact that Benfica lost their most recent home match against Sergio Conceição's Porto, a team that Inter knocked out in the previous round. Number 5 is interesting, I calci piazzati, arma Di Marco, palle da fermo e frenare João Mario. So Di Marco's left foot and his ability from set pieces could be a factor for Inter and them trying to neutralise their former player João Mario, who tends to play in a free role. And finally, motivation, quite simply. Spezia e Salerno da dimenticare, serve faccia tosta. So they need to forget that defeat in La Spezia. They need to forget that late draw in Salerno. And they really need to go out there and strut their stuff and stare their opponents in the eye. So that's La Gazzetta dello Sport before they move on to the other quarter-final from tonight. But we won't dwell on the game between Manchester City and Bayern Munich. Instead, we're going to go on to Il Corriere dello Sport. As we said, we're going to get into this paper as well. And there we can see, e ora Inzaghi esonera l'Inter. So he's not letting Inter off the hook here, exonerating them. He's actually firing them. Nerazzurri a casa del Benfica per l'andata dei quarti, mentre le difficoltà in campionato tengono alta la tensione tra tecnico e club. So the Nerazzurri away at Benfica for their quarter-final first leg, but their issues in Serie A mean that tensions are running high between the club and the head coach. He's fed up of being under fire for the team's topsy-turvy form and even considering leaving the club at the end of the season. But before that, he wants to secure a prestigious target, namely the Champions League final. Inzaghi has also gone a little bit off-piste, off-script here. Ci metteremo la nostra follia. So follia, madness, folly, quite literally a synonym of pazzia, pazza Inter, crazy Inter, which was a tagline that the current ownership wanted to do away with when Antonio Conte was first brought in. So not exactly the best thing to say PR-wise, and perhaps, again, just a subtle clue that not all is well between the ownership and Simone Inzaghi at this moment in time. Attacco Inter, Lautaro, Edin e ricordo del Camp Nou. So here, Lautaro Martinez should start alongside Edin Dzeko, according to Il Corriere dello Sport. And memories of their draw at Barcelona, it finished 3 apiece. They could and arguably should have won that game. And then finally, l'ex flop João Mario guida un Benfica da urlo. So the former Inter flop, João Mario, is the man inspiring or leading this absolutely glorious Benfica side. He didn't exactly take off at Inter. Now the number 10 is flying along with his team. He's crucial for his ability and tactical sense. He's a key player. So that's a quote, presumably, from Simone Inzaghi and Roger Schmidt, the Benfica coach. Attenzione all'Inter. Finally, we'll move on to tomorrow's game between Milan and Napoli. Osimhen rincorsa Champions ad alta tensione. So Osimhen is chasing down the Champions League tie amid high tension. Solo oggi nella rifinitura si capirà definitivamente se il nigeriano potrà giocare contro il Milan. C'è la tentazione di preservarlo per il ritorno. So only in today's final training session will we understand as to whether the Nigerian will be able to play against Milan, and they are tempted to hold him back to conserve him for the second leg. And Spalletti pondering, weighing up 3 possible tweaks here should Osimhen not be fit to play. Raspadori o Lozano se Ossi non ce la fa. So either Raspadori or Lozano should Osimhen not make it. Raspadori has trained separately but has given some positive signs. Chucky Lozano would have to adapt, but there's also the prospect of a false 9. So we might even see Kvicha Kvaratskhelia playing as a false 9, even though he actually looks a little bit more like Salvatore Aronica here. But there you can see number 77. Gol 77! Kvicha! Anyway, we shall see whether Kvaratskhelia can find his best form tomorrow night. But I think we're going to leave it there for today's press review because there's still so much to come. We don't want too long a preview. Let's get down to business now with the big match tonight at the Stadio della Luz between Benfica and Inter. Forza Inter. Tomorrow night, it's a toss of a coin in that all-Italian clash. Let me know who you've got in the comments below. Is it going to be Inter cruising through or taking a big first leg lead to take back to San Siro next week? Who's going to come out on top between Milan and Napoli, knowing that Napoli might be without the league's top scorer, Victor Osimhen? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And who knows, if this is well received enough, if it's popular enough, I might even be back in the future with another press review. But that's all for now. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.